I've spent hours of my life reading tons of self-improvement books, but I'm about to sum them up for you in this video. Okay, so first things first. Most authors seem to agree that self-improvement happens through daily habits. The concept of self-amplification is to believe that we can become 1% better each day. We've all learned in school about compound interest with money, and here, that 1% effort that you put in, it could be running in the morning for 3 days in a row, which is now compounded and ends up resulting in significant progress in the long term. And as frustrating as it might get, pushing through every day being only 1% better each day without seeing any direct results, the results compound massively. Every day, you must ask yourself, did I do enough? Was I better than me yesterday? If the answer is yes, then surely you can only move forward from now on. Now, to create good habits, let's move to the 4 stages of a habit. The first stage is the trigger. For instance, if you have a habit of checking your phone, the trigger could be having your phone on your desk whilst you're working or eating. The second phase is a desire. What did I see the last time I checked my phone that made me want to engage in this habit? Next comes the action phase. You pick up your phone, stop scrolling, and keep scrolling. Lastly, there's the reward, the dopamine released in your brain, along with the memory of thinking, oh, it was nice to look at TikTok, let's do it again. This cycle reinforces the behavior of the habit over time. But it's the same for every habit. Look, when you were a kid, you struggled to walk and fell many times. But look at you now. You're not even thinking about taking steps, turning, and keeping balance, because this habit has been strengthened through repetition. Similarly, you might have picked up over time the habit of checking your phone as soon as you wake up, and now it's part of your daily routine. But you might ask me, but Peter, why should you know about these 4 habit stages? Well, it helps to construct or deconstruct habits. Let's focus on building a new habit, using the example of reading. First, you want to make the habit obvious. For instance, placing your book on your bed every morning. Then make it attractive, because if you dislike reading, the habit won't stick. Create a reward point after reading 10 pages. Treat yourself to a little food or something like that. Next, make it easy. Reduce friction for the actions that you want to perform frequently, and increase it for those that you want to avoid. So if you're trying to read more, leave your book open on the right page. Then all you have to do is simply pick it up and start reading, instead of faffing about and looking for your bookshelf and struggling to remember what page you were on. And lastly, make it satisfying by finding short-term rewards, like treating yourself to something that you enjoy for every hour of reading you do. Moving on to nutrition, there are endless diets. Instead of getting lost in that, focus on keeping your glycemic index stable throughout the day by avoiding rapidly digesting carbohydrates like cakes or biscuits. Or you'll feel like you have no energy left after eating them. Cooking your meals is also a great way to maintain control over your nutrition. I would recommend batch cooking, where you cook a lot at once, e.g. lots of rice, different side sauces, different meats, etc. It might take a long time to cook, but then you're sorted for that week. You'll just put it in the fridge and then you don't have to think about what you eat every day. As for sleep, remember that we need about 8 hours of sleep per night, which is actually around 9 hours in your bed. I personally go to bed around 9:30, which might seem a bit early to some, and I wake up at 6. So I'm getting about 8 hours and 15 minutes of sleep, on paper. But in reality, I'll probably end up with 7.5 hours of actual sleep, which is not enough. Don't consume alcohol or too much sugar, and avoid screens before bedtime. Instead, read a book and avoid as much light as possible before bed, to let your body do the rest. If you really struggle with sleeping, I recommend doing a lot of exercise. As simple as it sounds, you'll get tired earlier than usual and then you'll just fall asleep quicker. Now that we've covered the general concepts of habits, let's discuss forming habits for the mental and physical side of things. Starting with meditation. It genuinely transformed my life. Sitting down daily, closing your eyes and focusing on your breath is a simple way to begin. For physical activity, even dedicating 15 minutes of your day for exercise is beneficial. Plan your day in advance and making sure it's balanced with activities like exercise, reading, learning, and creating. I hope that this video helps you to be 1% better than before you clicked on it. By following these principles, you too could have a great life by improving your daily habits. And remember, don't climb the mountain for the world to see you. Climb it so that you can see the world.